Hi, I'm Misha, I'm an iOS developer, and in this video, I'm going to show you how I created custom sound effects for my latest app, Prime Timer. This is how it looks, just a simple timer, and when it expires, it plays this alarm tone. But you can also pick a different alarm tone here in settings, for example, a nice funky melody. Isn't this cool? Or a happy melody. And I created all of these alarm sounds in GarageBand, which is a software that comes for free on macOS. And it also includes already some nice sound effects, like the ringtone you had before, or this harp achievement sound. And this is the beep sound that we're going to create together now. So I released this timer app on the App Store back in October 2025. I had waited until Apple had released iOS 26. Because now, for the first time since the inception of iOS, Apple has made it possible for third-party apps to ring system alarms, to play sound effects, even when the app is in the background or not running at all, even when the phone is in standby mode, and to even cut through those focus modes if the user agrees to it. And I wanted to be one of the first developers who has an app on the App Store that makes use of this super new feature and is able to play system alarms. My first thought was, hey, why not just use the system alarms, the sound effects that Apple already provides in their clock app, in their timer app? But the problem is, I don't have access to those sound effects. They are encapsulated in the system, and even if I were able to somehow extract those tones, I wouldn't be allowed to, because they are proprietary. And that's when it occurred to me, I need to make these alarm tones myself. And here's how I did it. First, I open GarageBand on my Mac, and I'll pick the MIDI software instrument to start with, but apparently I can't start with nothing. I need some sort of an inspiration, what kind of sound I want to produce. The first thing that came to mind is this standard beep tone that pretty much every digital alarm clock made in the 90s. You know, these... I just did a quick and superficial research why that was the alarm tone at the time. It turns out it was for two reasons. Number one, it was cheap, and number two, it was annoying. An alarm is supposed to wake you up, and this high-pitched sound is really hard to ignore. So I want to replicate this sound, but I don't want it to be so annoying. I want to keep the urgency and the intensity of the alarm, but I want to make it a little more pleasant. I want it to feel more at home on iOS, to be a little more melodic. Okay, so that's my goal. Now let's get to it. First, I click on this pencil button up here to open the editor at the bottom, which reveals a nice keyboard. And when I click any of the keys, it plays the sound they make. And I want to replicate this beep, 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 beep sound. That's what I want to create. But these buttons here, the keys are way too low, right? It's a beep, 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 beep. No, that's not what we want. So I scroll up a little bit. This sounds nice, right? It's a G5, right? C, D, E, F, G. G5. And now I command click in this grid area down here to just add a note. And I make it a little bit shorter. And command click again 3 more times to actually have 4 notes in the end, and I play back. Okay, pretty nice already, right? It's not yet the right instrument, but we'll get to that in a moment. But in order to find the right instrument, there's a nice little hack to be able to do that more efficiently, and that is called the cycle area up here. It adds this yellow bar, which I'll make a little bit shorter. And when I hit the play button now, and stop again and hit the play button again, it always starts from the beginning of the track. And I can also just hit play again, and it will cycle and loop through this part of the track, which is super nice. Okay, now let's find the right instrument. And that's where things get a little tricky for me, but I remember this tone to be electronic in the 90s, these alarm clocks, right? And it also sounded a little bit like a really high-pitched bell. So this is where I start my search. I go in the instruments area, click synthesizer, because synthesizers are electronic. And then I already have a category up here called bell. So I click on that. And now I play this, and I just go through all these different instruments. It's certainly not what I want, and I cut things short. It was the last one, the Sweet Luck Chime, that sounded exactly how I wanted it to be, right? Like a high-pitched bell. This is the instrument that I'm going to use. Now I want to make this a little more pleasant, more melodic. So let's add a simple melody to it, and for doing that, I'll add another track, another MIDI software instrument, and remember when I click on this, double click, this was the G5 that I played. And I start with that note down here in this area as well, G5. All right, command click, and I make it a little bit longer, and I want to play a melody now. What's the melody? This sounds nice, okay? So I command click again, here, and where was it? Up here, I think, right? That sounds pretty nice. Like a harmony. All right, now I want to use a different instrument. And again, I just loop through it, but this time I only listen to this instrument here, to the second track, by clicking the headphones icon. And I go through the different instruments. Okay, and I use the phasing bells for now. And I'll add back the first track. Okay, it's a little bit better. It's more than just the beep, but it doesn't feel complete. I want it to sound fuller. I want something that fills the gaps and something that creates a counterpoint to this annoying high pitch. And what could be better suited than a nice bass? Let's add another instrument, another MIDI software instrument for the bass, and open the editor. And we had a G before, but I know I can go a couple of octaves lower. It's supposed to be a bass after all. So I draw a bar here. Okay. And now I want it to be a little relaxed and a little bit chill. So I make this loop region a little bit longer. And I'll add a second tone, which somehow matches the harmony. And I'll make these bars a little longer to fill the entire cycle area. Okay, and now I want to repeat the beep tone up here, but also the melody of the phasing bells. So I can drag in the upper part of this track to loop it. Okay, that's nice, right? I select the classic electric piano again because it's not supposed to be a piano, it's supposed to be an electronic bass. So I select synthesizer and bass. I cycle through this. Oh, this is awful. And see what sounds nice. Okay, no, that's bad. A little better. Okay. How about the mutation bass? Oh, this is nice. This is a little subtle. And it fills the melody and the beep sounds that we have. So I'm quite happy with this already. Right? Because it has this urgency of the beep tones, but it has some depth to it. There's a little bit more to it. Awesome, I'm really happy with this, but I somehow still want to add some magic to it and more filling, a pad. So let's add one last track Again, a MIDI instrument, of course. And this time, I'll add something that's a little offbeat, like a rhythm. Because when everything is perfectly aligned, it just sounds boring. So what I have in mind is a little bit something like this. It must be a lot shorter, of course. How about this? I think it should be something like this. Let's make this shorter. Yeah. Okay, nice. And now let's switch the instrument to use a pad. So we go to synthesizer, pad, and let's isolate this. Okay. That is really interesting in my opinion, because this instrument makes the sound so different you can vaguely hear the rhythm, but it brings some sort of magic and filling effect to it, which I love and which was my intention. So I'll just make this track fill the entire cycle region, and I'll add back the other instruments. Okay, maybe we can copy these ones and paste them here. And also move them to... Oh, actually, this is not the right harmony. So this is supposed to be a G. And we can move these a little bit up to make them a C as well, just like the mutation bass. Nice! Wow, perfect. That is my ringtone, my alarm tone. This is something I can loop easily in my app and play forever until the user cancels the alarm. And with a few minor tweaks, that's the tone I use in the app. I hope you liked this video with a look behind the scenes. If you do, please hit the like button or subscribe if you're interested in this kind of content. And if you haven't downloaded Primetimer yet on your iPhone or iPad, please check it out on the App Store. The link is in the description. And you can also just search for Primetimer on the App Store and it will certainly pop up. It's a beautiful minimalist timer app with a progress bar on the lock screen. It works with Siri. It can be remote controlled with your Apple Watch. It's completely free with no advertisement at all. Thanks for watching. You're awesome.